So for all the changes Maine has seen over the last 25, 50, even 100 years, one thing remains the same. This is a state of small businesses.
General Motors has never built an assembly plant here. Boeing hasn't thought about coming to Maine to build a factory, and they probably never will. Even though our businesses are small, some of them can compete with anyone, anywhere. From the outside, this does not look like a thriving business. Interesting? Yes. Thriving? No. But pause for a moment and admire the faded beauty of these old Volkswagen buses. You wouldn't know it, but they are on the road to recovery. This is Foreign Auto and Supply. The business started in 1995 mainly as a parts store, but since 2000 it has had a different focus, restoring Volkswagen buses.
We've had customers as far away as Vancouver. We have one here right now from Arizona, Texas, Colorado, so truly all over North America.
Customers who are in a hurry have come to the wrong place. Restoring a VW bus that's 30, 40, 50 years old or more takes time, a lot of time.
Oh, in most cases it's months, yeah. Weeks is a quick turnaround.
John Gagnon founded Foreign Auto and Supply and still runs and owns it. He's got a long history with VWs.
Owned a van in high school and figured out pretty quickly that if I couldn't fix it, I was walking.
Customers seldom come here for routine maintenance. This operation is really about the big jobs, rebuilding a transmission, converting an engine, or the real specialty, completely restoring, inside and out, what may be little more than a rolling chassis.
No wheels, no tires, no suspension, no top, no glass, no harness, no brake lines. Everything was missing from that van. And now it's the largest, little model car kit you've ever put together. And
VW buses make people smile, but they always had their quirks.
Yeah, it's amazing when you actually are working on a vehicle and it's giving you trouble and you realize, well, it is a 40-year-old vehicle. It probably should be giving me trouble at this point.
Perhaps the VW's biggest shortcoming, which wasn't particularly endearing, was that the engines were often unreliable.
If you're trying to do a cross-country trip with the kids and you've got that knot in your stomach when the trip you start to take off, where am I going to break down and who's not going to want to work on it?
What Foreign Auto and Supply does is give owners peace of mind. It transforms the vehicles so they still have their funky vibe, but are outfitted with brakes, engines, and so forth that are state-of-the-art. What's the biggest challenge that you have in doing what you do?
Components.
Foreign Auto and Supply buys parts from around the world. What it can't buy, it sometimes has to make. One reason why restoring a van is slow and painstaking.
I got a fuel tank that's prepped to go there, but you can't put that fuel tank back in until you've done the brake lines and the harnesses and the fuel lines and the heater lines. So everything has an order and you can't just do it haphazardly.
The work does not come cheap. The average repair bill here runs $17,000 to $30,000, and full restorations can cost upwards of $100,000. John Gagnon took us for a ride in a bus that had been completely overhauled. The roads were slippery, so he kept the speed down.
As I say, this is a $80,000 restoration. I don't need to be cracking it up a week before we deliver it, so that would suck.
VW buses actually handled fairly well in the snow.
But they were cold as all get out. So.
They were notorious for heating systems that just sort of blew tepid air at best, right?
At best, on its best day, yeah.
Being around these vehicles left me awash in nostalgia because I've got a personal history with Volkswagens. That's my dad in front of our VW bus. I learned to drive on that bus when I was 16. Loved it. And there's clearly a lot of love for these vehicles. Happy customers have sent in photos from all over North America. Makes you wonder, how long will VW buses be on the road?
Sure, you've got Model A's and stuff that are 1900 and whatnot, and people are still driving. They go to the old shows and stuff. That van is solid enough, and there are panels still available, parts that are still available, that van could easily last 100 years.
Foreign Auto and Supply has a 2-year backlog of restoration work, so it may be a while before these vans come in from the cold. But there's no question they will have a new life somewhere down the road. Did you ever drive one?
Nope.
Did you ever ride in one?
Nope.
Oh.
Whatever happened to your fathers?
Well, it was actually, my mom drove that. My dad had another car that he drove to work, and my mom took my brothers and me around in that VW bus, and we had it for, I don't know, 7 years or so, and then it got to the point where it was time to trade it in. But I learned to drive on that thing, 4 on the floor. It was very memorable because those VW buses are pretty light, so when you got into strong side winds, you're going along on a bridge or something, there were strong winds, those things would get blown all over the road.
That's a good car to learn how to drive in then, because you get steady, right?
Yeah, no, it was fun because the steering wheel is like a big pizza pie. It was huge. You feel like Ralph Cramden, and you've got this air traffic control visibility, so it was really a lot of fun. Now, one other note on that story, John Gagnon, who owns the business, before I did the story, when I was setting it up with him, he sent me an email saying, full disclosure, I'm distantly related to Amanda Hill.
Yeah, we're like second or third cousins. My mother says we met when we were very, very young.
Right.
So we've met. We don't remember each
You
other.
don't remember. So I figured that did not constitute a conflict of interest.
Oh, no.